Waterways is a traveling exhibit sponsored by the Smithsonian. It reveals the central nature of water in our lives. We caught up with the exhibit at the Treaty Site History Center in St. Peter.
We're sitting on our blessed Mother Earth, from which we get our strength and determination, love and humility, all the beautiful attributes we've been given. So turn to one another, love one another, respect one another, respect Mother Earth, respect the waters, because that's life itself.
My name is Alyssa Otten. I am the Executive Director of the Nicollet County Historical Society. The Minnesota Humanities Center was given the opportunity to host this Waterways exhibition, which is through the Smithsonian's Museums on Main Street organization, or sort of this project that they do where they create exhibits that then are loaned out to various states and different communities within that state. So the Smithsonian partnered with the Minnesota Humanities Center and asked for applicants who wanted to host this exhibit or the exhibition, and we were chosen as one of the 6. And so we were given the chance to basically spend a whole year preparing for and engaging with the public about our local waters, to host these exhibits and talk about sort of what's happening with water right now, both historically, because we're a historical society, and currently. There were a lot of people who applied, a lot of organizations who were interested, but I think the story that we have here with the Minnesota River and sort of the glacial history and all those river miles that we have, that agriculture is big here, and that plays a major part in river health and all of that. And with the Swan Lake system, I think that was probably one of the bigger reasons, or those were some of the bigger reasons that we were chosen. So the Minnesota Humanities Center has a link and a large page about all of this with all the different host sites. So that's probably the best place to start. mnhum.org. The goal is basically to talk about water and sort of how it affects people, how it has affected people, how it's shaped the landscape, culture, and sort of what's happening now within water. The nice thing about this exhibition is that the Smithsonian's exhibit, which is called Waterways, which is the one with all the curvy blue panels behind me, that's sort of a national focus in a lot of different aspects of water. And then the state exhibit, which was done between the Minnesota Humanities Center, the Minnesota Department of Health, Pollution Control Agency, and the Minnesota Historical Society, that's more Minnesota focused. So it talks about what's happening with Minnesota right now with water, but then each host site has specific panels and maps that come to it so that it's more specific to sort of St. Peter for right now. And then our exhibit, the one that the Nicollet County Historical Society created, is focused on local water stories. And so within those 6 communities, each of us were asked to create an exhibit to go along with the ones that would be loaned to us for the 6 weeks. We thought that maybe the best way to figure out what water stories we wanted to share with the public would be to put together a focus group. So we asked about 10 people who are local with really varying areas of expertise, glacial, historic, pollution control, all of those types of things. And we brought them together for an afternoon of sort of just thinking about all the different topics and places and things that could be talked about or shared with the public. And then we had our facilitator sort of whittle those down into 10 themes that then we asked for expert help on creating the content and developing what we were going to say about it. Because the Historical Society can obviously talk about the fur trade and ice harvesting and all of that here, but things like current issues to the river health and things that are a little out of our wheelhouse, we asked for help with. And then we designed panels and pulled quotes and artifacts and pictures and all sorts of content. And that exhibit will stay here at the Treaty Site for much longer than when the Smithsonian exhibition leaves us next month. I think the point is to talk about sort of what used to be here, what the sort of the cycle that water has gone through over the last few hundreds of years, because we're a historical society. So we want people to know sort of how we got to where we are today, because that's a big part of what we do. But also to think about, you might not realize that your toilet leaking is wasting this much water, and that there are things you can do within your own home, like put up a rain barrel, make a water garden, or excuse me, a rain garden, and sort of affect change on your own on a smaller level. I think the neat thing is that this is giving, specifically for the Nicollet County Historical Society, it's giving us an opportunity to explore stories and histories that we don't always talk about. We know that this area was prairie pothole wetland, which is basically gone. There's a little bit left of the natural environment of that ecosystem, but it gives us a chance to think about what was here, how water affects plants, people, all of that. And so there's a lot of important water stories here, and it's giving us an opportunity to share those with the public and bring in an exhibition that was created by the Smithsonian, which is pretty neat. So I think between all of the exhibits that we have here, we wanted to make sure that people know that there's something that they can do and not just learn about the history, because that is what we do, but we also want to help people figure out ways that they can affect change in their own lives, because going forward, this will be historic one day, and so if we can affect change now, that will help. The Smithsonian name carries a lot of weight, so I think people are excited to come check out something that the Smithsonian created that's in their backyard. So we've seen a really good response from people, and again, things that they don't normally think about when they're going to visit a historical society, and sort of water and what's going on with our world in water. So it's been really great. We'll be sad to see it leave. So all of these exhibits that we have coming up, it's a good time to become a member if people aren't members already. We rely on membership and support of the public, and we're here for you. We're here for people to learn about their history, and so becoming a member is a good way to not only help us bring in exhibits like the Smithsonian, but also you can pay attention to what's coming with future exhibits. So you'll get our newsletter, which has all sorts of information about exhibits and programs and things that are going on. People can like us on Facebook. We do a lot of fun posts about local history and quirky history and all of that. So it's a good time to become a member.